In the headlines, 2 soldiers feared killed by terrorists in Katsina. Elders Forum unveils Northern agenda ahead of 2023 elections. Plateau Court acquits ex-Governor Jang of alleged 6.3 billion naira corruption charges. And lastly, on the foreign scene, Myanmar's Suu Kyi sentenced to 3 years in jail for electoral fraud. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Updates. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for joining. And now the news in full. 2 soldiers have said to be killed and 2 hospitalized, while 2 went missing while terrorists laid ambush on Shimfida Jebia Feeder Road last Wednesday. And among the suspected missing soldiers is the officer in charge of formation. Eyewitness recount reveal that the 2 wounded soldiers are currently receiving medical treatment at the Federal Teaching Hospital in Katsina. The other brave soldier on the armored personnel carrier who escaped unhurt was said to engage the terrorists in a serious gun battle. And unfortunately, the terrorists escaped with 1 woman who was among the people that had been escorted to buy foodstuff in Jebia and the military personnel. And the soldiers were said to have been using only APC escort residents and from Shimfida village to buy foodstuff. In a telephone conversation, residents of Shimfida, a village who confided with Trust TV, told Abdullahi Ahmadi that the terrorists were suspected to have detonated an explosive device which caused a serious damage on the armored personnel carrier. And all effort to reach a public relations officer of the 17th Brigade in Katsina proved abortive, as they did not respond to several calls put to them by Trust TV. And the chairman of the Arewa Consultative Forum, ACF, Professor Ango Abdullahi, said that the North will participate in all political and electoral activities as equals and with respect to other Nigerians who respect them. The other statesman stated this in a public lecture in Kaduna. The report.
The lecture was organized by the Center for Leadership Development and Research in collaboration with Arewa Youth Alliance for Good Governance and the Northern Elders Forum. Speakers at the lecture dwelt on the state of the nation and the 2023 general election. The chairman Northern Elders Forum, Professor Ango Abdullahi, while delivering his speech, said the country is in turmoil.
Our country as a whole is in a state of turmoil, if I may use the expression. I don't mind being quoted using that expression because country is in turmoil now.
On the 2023 election, the elder statesman said the North is yet to have candidates.
I'm not being fully informed in terms of who is who and who is that who and what he wants to do, not for me, but for society and for the country. What we are being bombarded with are posters. Posters don't speak.
Nigeria was met with the unfortunate situation of withdrawal of subsidy to fertilizer, a critical input of agriculture.
This country is in the ICU. When a patient, I know I'm a doctor, when a patient is in the ICU, you do not call a rookie. You need an experienced hand.
At another public discourse organized in Kaduna by Arewa Movement for Good Governance, the vices bedeviling the country and the solutions were discussed. Keynote speaker Usman Bigaja said the only way for Nigeria to get out of the woods is to have credible leadership.
Situation today, and we need to get out of this place. And the way to do so is to put our heads together and do what other countries who have found themselves in similar situations have done before. And that is to focus on development and to produce the credible leadership that is required to lead development.
Unfortunately, today, the same northern Nigeria is hit by insecurity, corruption, and all forms of violence that has relegated the northern part of Nigeria, that is making northern part of Nigeria not to appear relevant again.
The event is coming at a time when electioneering campaign for the 2023 election draws near, and the northern electorates are searching for credible leaders who will help the region tackle insecurity that hinders development in the region. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
And still on election matters, the National Assembly Election Petition Tribunal has declared Muhammad Al-Khaili, candidate of the People Redemption Party PRP, winner of the by-election for Jos North Bassa Federal Constituency. In the verdict on Friday, the court held that the petitioners proved their case beyond reasonable doubt. The court also nullified the certificate of return of earlier issued to Musa Aga of People's Democratic Party PDP, and candidate who was declared winner of the election in February. The PDP candidate was declared the winner of the Saturday by-election for Jos North Bassa Federal Constituency by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). 11 political parties contested the February 26th by-election to fill the position left by Haruna Maitela of the APC, who died in a motor accident in April 2021. And the need for youth to galvanize their numerical strength and channel their energies into political force that will enthrone the right leadership in 2023 has been emphasized. This comes as the nation braces for the commencement of the political campaigns ahead of the elections. The report.
Nigerian youths have been advised to brace up, unite and be focused in whatever they do to produce a better leader come 2023. Makurdi-based public affairs commentator and activist who made the assertion said the failure of government to provide jobs for the teeming graduates in the country is a cross of societal problems.
There are a lot of applicants out there. I'm not talking of people who are not educated. Some persons have as much as a PhD, some even a master's degree. They have ideas in their various fields that can be productive and move the economy of this country forward. But what has happened? There is no form of empowerment.
Other residents who spoke to Trust TV reporter urged Nigerian youth to embrace the principles of sacrifice, discipline and hard work for their better tomorrow. They say the attitude of laziness and selfishness portrayed by some youths will not take the country forward, where they called on the youth to step up and make responsible choices.
The issue of unemployment is one of the factors that push the youth to take some of the decisions they take. But we have to make sacrifices, and the choices we make today, instead of taking certain decisions that we have little benefit to us, to sustain us today, we need to sacrifice such a benefit that people will give us some data, giving us data to promote them on the internet, and just because of that, we begin to promote people who are not actually out to help us. So that is a huge sacrifice that we have to make.
While some said, as Nigerians go to the polls in 2023 to decide the next set of leaders, the youth have a major stake in the process and should not allow selfish and unpatriotic politicians to use them to do something that may jeopardize the smooth and viable process of the elections.
I also advise that Nigerian youth should avoid vote. It's a crime for anybody to involved in any processes which are not really allowed in the election process.
While Nigeria, like many economies, is grappling with challenges such as insecurity, economic downturn, education crisis, social ills, among others, Makurdi residents feel the youth can change the narrative by taking part in the electoral processes.
And away from Makurdi in Benue State now to Plateau State, where High Court on Friday discharged and acquitted former Governor Jonah Jang in a case of alleged 6.3 billion naira fraud brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Both the former governor and Yusuf Pam, a former cashier in the office of the Secretary to the Plateau State government, were discharged by the court presided over by Justice Christy Dabup. The anti-graft agency first arraigned Jang, who was the governor between 2007 and 2015 alongside Pam, in March 2018 before Justice Daniel Longji on a 17-count charge for alleged misappropriation of 6.3 billion naira belonging to the state government. Justice Longji departed in 2019, putting an end to the case and the continued hearing after he had been deliberating on it for over 2 years. However, the case was reopened in 2020 when Justice Christy Dapup, a new judge, was given the case by the state chief judge. Reacting, the former governor's counsel said the victory is well deserved and Jang has been more helpful to the state and has done much more good.
Senator David Jonah Jang has been discharged and acquitted by the High Court of Plateau State after a 4.5-year trial which started on the 4th of May 2018 with the counts amended on the 30th of September 2019. So between 4th of May 2018 and today's 2nd of September 2022, Jonah Jang has been going through the ordeal, the harrowing experience of a criminal trial, being prosecuted by the EFCC, has been discharged and acquitted by the court of all the 17-count charge. 17 counts charge. He was discharged and acquitted. So he's a free man. That's the man you were saying stole billions of money. The count found that no one kobo was stolen by this man. That the 2.5 billion naira that CBN gave to Plateau State government was given as a loan, acknowledged and vindicated by the State House of Assembly. Today is a day when justice has been enthroned, but more importantly, today is a day that we must glorify God with full adoration forever, and ever, and ever. Amen. God bless you.
The report of the forensic auditors engaged by Kwara State Governor has revealed a colossal theft of government's money during the 8-year tenure of former Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed, totaling 11.9 billion naira. The report also showed that 2 billion naira cash withdrawal not tied to any project or official expenditure was made within 8 days in February 2019, barely 1 month to the general election. The report.
Following certain discoveries about the treasury of Kwara State government, Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak employed the services of a private audit firm to audit the 8-year tenure of his predecessor, Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed. Speaking during the submission of the report to the governor, partner at the SSAC and professionals, Anthony Inemo, revealed that not less than 11.9 billion naira was carted away between the year 2011 and 2019. The report also revealed that some loans were obtained by the state government during the period, whereas the element of these loans could not be validated. The report suggested to the government to prosecute some individuals and firms indicted in 2-volume report, while other issues are to be referred to an administrative panel of inquiry for some individuals to explain their roles in the infractions.
We recommended to the state government to prosecute certain officers and companies in addition to claiming exemplary damages on the transaction totaling 6 billion. There was also a cash withdrawal within 8 days of about 2 billion in February 2019, which was of interest to the audit. However, no documentation was No documentation was made available to validate the purpose for which the money was withdrawn.
It just confirms what we've been expecting and alluding to all along, what the state has been going through. Well, we also saw that it has taken a bit of time. I know there were certain deliberate efforts to obstruct your work, and that's why it's taking time. We know you made various complaints about that, and we've tried to push those that were supposed to open the doors for you to make the work easy for you. But well done. Your report will help us put the state in the right direction to deepen transparency and accountability.
Reacting, the former Chief Press Secretary to the former Governor, Wahab Oba, described the allegations as naive and unspecific and generally unfounded, adding that the expenditure during the period under review was properly appropriated and followed due process. He says since they left office more than 3 years ago, the accounts have been properly audited by various auditing agencies and had been certified. He alleged that in coming 6 months to election on the legality or otherwise of the expenditure is an afterthought that is politically motivated.
And the hip-hop artist Panchak Zamani, popularly known as Ice Prince, has been arrested by the police in Lagos for allegedly driving a vehicle without plate numbers. And the singer was also accused of assaulting a police officer who flagged down his car around 3 a.m. on Friday. The Lagos State Police Public Relations Officer SP Benjamin Hundeyin, who revealed the incident on his Twitter page, said the Oleku crooner threatened to throw the policeman into the river, adding that he will be arraigned on Friday. Ice Prince, also known as Ice Prince Zamani, rose to fame after releasing Oleku, one of Nigeria's most remixed songs of all time. His debut album, Everybody Loves Ice Prince, was revealed in 2011. It was followed by 3 singles, Oleku, Superstar and Juju. His second album, Fire of Zamani, was released in 2013, containing the singles Aboki, More, Gimme That, among others. You're still watching Trust TV News Updates. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at how Mega 3 market attracts millions across Africa. Details of this story and more shortly. Do stay with us.
Good morning, Nigeria. Year after year, they have informed, educated, and entertained us. When you needed information, knowledge, or an escape.
From generation to generation, the Nigerian broadcasting industry has worked tirelessly to serve you.
This November, broadcasters all over Nigeria will gather for the maiden edition of the Nigerian Broadcasting Awards, an award ceremony set to reward hard work and unflinching excellence in the broadcast media. They have served and are still serving. It's time to say thank you. This award is organized by the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BON. For more details, log on to www.tnbawards.ng and follow our social media handles at TNB Awards.
Welcome back. You're still watching Trust TV News Update. Thank you for staying with us. But before we proceed, a recap of our top stories again. We told you that 2 soldiers feared killed by terrorists in Katsina. And the Elders Forum unveils Northern agenda ahead of 2023 elections. And moving on to other stories, the high cost of house rent in Nigeria's capital city, Abuja, has become a source of concern as millions of families find it hard to afford decent homes or pay their yearly rent from their annual earnings. The high cost of bills, especially the house rent, is eating up to 80% of annual income of both young and old Nigerians. Nana Mohammed has more on the story.
Families face fights for survival in makeshift homes, while young people spend most of their income paying house rents without an option to save for the future. Every day, the number of people struggling to make a living from makeshift homes is increasing due to the ever-growing inflation. The National Bureau of Statistics says Nigerians' inflation rates increased to 19.64% in July 2022 alone, throwing dozens of families into difficulty. Halima Isa is a petty trader and a mother of 10 who has been living in Abuja for 15 years. She cannot afford to pay for a house and lives in a makeshift shelter made of zinc. I am a petty trader. I sell food by the roadside to support my family income, but we are still struggling with poverty. I pray that my life and that of my family change for the better, but from the look of things, I'm losing hope. Over the years, she has worked hard to train her children in school to guarantee a better future. But the vision she hoped for and looked forward to looks blurry. Every day I go out and see all these beautiful houses. I pray to God to provide the same for my family or for my children in the near future. That is why I work hard to train my children in school for our life to improve for the better. Some young people between the ages of 30 and below lament that house rent takes more than 80% of their yearly income.
I think the most high is the house rent, because the house rent is really something else right now.
What we are getting is very little and everything is expensive.
To address the housing deficit in Abuja, an estate developer is suggesting that government partners with the private sector.
When it comes to housing within the city center, I can tell you the issue of affordability becomes a matter of class in terms of who can afford it in such a location and where. The government alone cannot take the responsibility solely to provide housing. They should partner, or they are supposed to partner with real estate developers in the private sector to be able to solve the issue of housing deficit in Nigeria.
The rapidly growing population and constantly rising inflation is dimming the hope of low-income earners that they can own a decent home. The population of homeless people in Abuja is projected to reach 5 million mark in the next 1 year due to high cost of living. Nana Muhammad, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And away from the high cost of housing in Abuja, one of Nigeria's biggest livestock markets in the country is the Maigatari market of Jigawa State in northwest Nigeria. Cows and other animals are being brought in weekly from Niger Republic and other West African countries in exchange for other goods, especially food items. Trust TV's correspondent Idris Jibrin visited the Maigatari border town of Jigawa State and now filed in this report.
The viability of this market may not be unconnected to its border location, which makes it possible to have all types of cattle breeds, with buyers trooping from across the country and Niger Republic. This market is a central market in northern Nigeria because it is where you can find cows, donkeys, horses, goats, camels, and agricultural produce, as well as any other product you can find in any international market around the world.
The most unique feature of the market is the international status it is assuming by the day. Apart from playing host to local cattle buyers from different parts of the country, international buyers also do come here from Niger Republic. There are people all over the country like Lagos, Port Harcourt, Kano, Kaduna, Warri, Abuja. Every day they come to buy here. People from different towns in Niger Republic are right now inside the market doing their businesses. According to traders, major dealers from the southern part of the country buy cattle and donkeys in large quantity from Maigatari for supply to market in the south, and that Maigatari cattle market supplies the southern part of the country with about 100 trailers of cattle on weekly basis.
Sometimes they do and they can't go Yoruba or Ibadan side, east. Some people they can't skin, people they buy skin export them to outside country. The price they so cost. And see, since money will come here, nobody get it buy because price they fall down where they sell them.
And on the foreign scene, a Myanmar junta court sentenced ousted leader Susan Chi to 3 years in jail for electoral fraud during 2020 polls, where her party won in a landslide, a source with knowledge of the case said on Friday. The source said the Nobel laureate, who is 77, was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment with hard labor. Detained since the polls in 2021, Susan Chi has already been convicted of corruption and a clutch of other charges by a closed junta court and sentenced to 17 years in prison. And that brings us to the end of the news hour. At this time, you can follow us and don't forget to subscribe to our social media platforms. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for watching.